In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I painted this guy. Okay guys, welcome to this video. So, as we're going to do the Big Mek with Shokk attack gun. So, Big Mek with Big Mek. So, Big Mek, sorry, with a Shokk attack gun. So I've left these two parts, if it does, so they come apart, just for ease of painting. So I've got them two. I've got the little Gretchen that comes out the tube there, and I've got the actual pipe that fits around the back. So put them all together, and the sub-assemblies I've done just makes it easier. You can do it however you want, but for me that's the easiest way. You can get to everything then, the pipe's not in the way of something else. Gun won't get in the way of you painting, like this side of his body. Okay guys, so the first colour we're going to take is we're going to take Lead Belcher, and we're just going to pick out all the metal parts. So this here on the top. I'm not going to be too worried about neatness at this stage. First couple of colours that we're going on. Lead Belcher, watered down a bit. We'll get that painted on. I'm going to go around all the metal bits, so I'll finish that. So I'm going to go around his back panel here, any little metal bits here I'll paint up like that. Maybe some bits around his chest, his spanners on the front, so I'll touch these up. And then potentially just going to paint the whole gun first, just all of it silver, obviously apart from his arm, and then obviously I can pick out little bits after that. So I'm just going to make a start on that. So I'll come back when that's done. Okay, so that's all the silver done. So we've pretty much just painted a good majority of all the mechanical parts and steel bits. So now what we're going to take is we're going to take Retributor armour. I'm going to water that down a little bit. And we're just going to pick out some little bits on the steel parts just to break it up a little bit. Get our watered down. So obviously that I'm just going to pick out this arrow here. Just going to pick that out there. Probably some other little bits, like there's a lightning bolt here. So pick that out. Might even just paint these. I'll go around those as well in a minute. So I'll just put some gold on which areas I'm going to touch up. So just go around, pick out some areas. So again, you can pick this out in gold, bronzed, tin, whatever colour you want really. But I'm just going to pick that out in the gold, and then I'll come back. Okay, so that's all the gold done now. I just picked out a few right there, but a few spots. Some of the bits I've gone over a little bit, but blackwash normally hides a few mistakes. A few bits of gold on the front of the gun there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take Norn oil, and we're just going to wash all over everything we've just done. Get some on your brush. I've got a bigger brush just so it can hold a bit more wash. Don't have too much on your brush, you don't want to overload the areas, and just start getting that on there. So we're doing this step first because it's a bit messier. So getting all the metallics out of the way, and then we can do all the refined details like the skin and arm panels and everything else later on, because this is pretty much the only step which requires a dry brush. So once we've got this out of the way, It's just brush control then, just to make sure we don't go over any other areas. Probably going to do 2 coats of the Norn oil, so we can get some good dark recesses. Get that on there. If it pulls too much, just move it around. Get that all over, so I'm just going to finish that off. Okay, so that's all the silver and everything washed. That's what they're looking like now. Nice couple of coats of the Norn oil on there. That's what it looks like, and then this is what the gun looks like. It looks pretty cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some Necron compound. I always then test it. I don't know if you can see that on my hand, see how much is coming off. So if there's too much, back to the paper towel. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put this over every metal bit. Just picks up the edges. Nothing, it's just subtle. Be careful when you're going over the gold bits though, because the Necron compound can really like dye that colour. Like I've gone a bit too much there, but not too fussed about that. Do need to get better dry brush, so this is rubbish. Yeah, just go over and dry brush all everything you've just done silver, get that dry brushed. Okay, so that's the Necron compound done. So just some subtle little highlights, nothing major. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some iron oxide and we're going to start base coating all like the leathery parts. So I'm classing this as leathery, it's like a material. And there's a little satchel, if you can see it, it zooms in, just on the side of his waist. So get your iron oxide watered down, and we're just going to give this a base coat. So I might have to do this in 2 sections because I'm not going to be able to hold it while the other part dries. So I'm just going to get that all over there, and do as much as my fingers permit. As you can see, thinning the paint down has allowed just me to get a nice thin layer over all that. And I'll take a little bit more. I'm just going to do satchel as well, so we'll get in there. Okay, so I'll finish that off. Obviously I've got to do the other part when that bit's dry, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so that's all the brown done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take Araman blue, and we're also going to take Stegodon scale green. We'll get the Araman blue first, and we're just going to paint all the pipes. Any pipes and tubes that they've got on the model. Just going to touch that with a... Try not to get it on where you just painted like I've just done. Probably way too much paint on that brush. Just take a bit of that off. That. So just go down, I'm just going to paint all the pipes. I know there's a bit of blue there, but we'll put a wash over that and we'll sort that out in a bit. And then what we're going to do with the Stegodon scale green, this is what we're going to paint all their clothing and fatigues in. We'll take a bit of that on the brush. turn him round, and we're just going to paint all the fatigues. So I'll get all that done and then we'll come back. Okay, so that's the fatigues and the blue wires done. I'll put a wash on that in a bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take Death World Forest and we're going to paint the first coat on the skin. We can get some solid base coats down, so if we do make any mistakes we can just go back and touch them up. So we'll start on the arm here. So we're just going to get our brush and we're just going to start with a nice base coat. Death World Forest. And as well, there is some other bits I've got to go in and do. So where his buckle there meets on his front panel there, just got to put some silver on that just to obviously highlight this is the buckle. But I'll get this done and we'll come back. Okay, so now that's the first layer of paint on the skin for the Big Mek. Now we're just going to take some warg flesh and we're going to base coat the Gretchen. So it's a bit patchy now, but another coat on that will sort that out, so I'll come back when that's done. Okay, so that's a layer of warg flesh on the little Gretchen. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take Norn oil and we're going to base coat over everything we've just washed. Well, not what am I about? Everything we've just painted other than the skin. And then just while on camera as well, do the skin of the Big Mek. So we're going to use a Athonian camo shade to go over the skin parts. So I'm just going to take that and get that all over the bits that we've painted in the Death World Forest. Okay, so that's the washes on there now. And then when we come back to do some highlighting on the skin, we can bring that detail back out. So I'll finish off all the other washes and things around the model, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so that's all the washes dry. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take a brush and we're just going to get some red paint onto some of the armour panels just to stand them out a bit. So with this claw here, we're just going to take that and we're just going to get some on there. Yep, so I'll get that done and we'll come back. Okay, so that's the red bits done. So I've just picked out a few bits on his gun and on his body. So so that's where he is at the moment. I've picked out his eye as well. So it's just some basic washes over there at the moment. I'm not going to pick out any more detail on his clothing. I want it to look a bit more dirty. And that's the gun at present. So now what we're going to do is just going to get the Norn oil again and just go back over the bits what we painted in red. I'm just going to finish that off and then we'll come back and start getting some other colours on him. Okay, so now the wash is done on the red, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start layering up some of these other colours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bit of Elysian green, water that down a little bit, and we're just going to touch the areas of standing up muscle. Just put a thin coat on those areas. And this will bring out the skin tone a little bit more and hide anything where the shades just gone over a little bit. Okay, so that's all the skin done on the war boss now. It's a bit bright, it's a lot less vibrant when it's not under such a bright light. But that's that done, obviously done the arms as well on there. So now we're going to take a bit of war boss green and I'm going to paint this little fellow. Okay, so that's the skin of the little Gretchen done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get some Evils Scarlet and we're just going to paint, do some highlighting on all the red parts. So we'll take our Evils Scarlet, watered down a bit, and we're just going to touch everything up that leaving the darkest parts in the recesses. Okay, so model's coming together quite nicely now. So we've got some reds on there now. Nothing over the top. A couple of layers and that's it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a bit of Gawthorpe brown, and we're just going to give the brown parts, like the leather and stuff, just some little subtle highlights. Now, I'm not the best at edge highlighting, but we're just going to push focuses. Okay, so now we focus, right? So we're going to take the Gawthorpe brown, I'm going to put my finger up against that, and I'm just going to just draw a thin line across there. That's probably way too thick. Let's get rid of that. A thinner line just across there like that. The edge is too thick again. Yeah, just a nice thin line. And then we're just going to get where the creases are here, and we're just going to a couple of highlights here and there, and then on the edges here where the leather meets, we're going to just touch the tops. Okay, so that's the little highlighting on the brown done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're just going to get some wraith bone, which is the base for the contrast paints, and we're just going to start painting the teeth and claws. So we're just going to get some paint on the teeth. Okay, so one of the final parts, what we're going to do now is everything's pretty much done before we glue it together. So I did do the wash off camera, obviously, of the teeth. So that's I do like the skeleton horde for like the contrast paints. I might do a model eventually with the contrast paints all the way through. See how that goes. But what I'm in and ahhing what to do with his energy things on the end of the shock attack gun. So I'm going to try something. If it doesn't work, I'll just repaint over it. So I'm going to take Calidor Sky, or you might not even see the video. I'll take Calidor Sky and we're just going to paint over that there. We're just going to paint everything in this nice rich blue. Okay, so now the Calidor Sky is done. Just going to kind of like make this step up. So I'm just going to take some Lotherham blue and I'm just going to start picking out the higher edges and just going over this bit here. Okay, so we've got the Lotherham blue. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I decided just to paint the entire of the electrical things coming off the orbs completely. Now, I will be honest, I did do another recording where I painted some highlights and things, and yeah, I wasn't happy with it. just didn't come out right, so those have been cast aside. So I've just gone back and I've repainted all over that what I did with the Lothern blue again, and I'm going to try something different now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Lothern blue and then we're going to put some Drakenhof Nightshade over the top of that, just to darken the recesses. I'm just going to do something a lot more simple, and I'm just going to go for a dry brush kind of style. Okay, so what we're going to do now the wash is dry, we're just going to take some Lothern blue again. I'm just going to get it on a dry brush. So I've got a battered brush here, what used to be one of my detail brushes, but it's obviously seen its day. And we're just going to take that in cross motions across the main bulk of the ball. It should just build up some texture on there. Just take that over each one and build that up. Obviously you can build this up as much as you want. I'm just going to take it over the actual lighting as well. Get more on the brush out and then come back when that's done. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get some white on there. We're not going to wash the brush, and we're just going to take that across the middles there of the, just in a cross motion to build up a whitish layer in the middles, and just take it across some of that as well where the lightning hits there on the tops of there. So we're not going to hit the tops there of the orb, but the tops of the lightning will hit, and the left and right side of the lightning as well. Okay, so we'll get that done. Okay, so now that's done. So that just gives it, if it's going to focus, really subtle but effective, I believe. And I did on purpose get some blue onto the edges here just so it looks as though it's glowing a little bit. Not the best in the world, but looks okay. So all that's left now to do is to get this guy stuck together. So I've stuck the little Gretchen on, so he's there hanging there at the pipe, and then we'll get the tubes and everything done, stuck on, and then just the base, and we'll come back. Okay, so here he is all finished. So I've glued him all together now, so Shokk attack guns on there. So final result, quite pleased with how he turned out. The cloth hasn't got too much detail in it, but I'm not too worried about that. It's not the main focus of the model. Skin and the weapon, I think, are clearly the main points of this model. I do like the way the electric orb things on the end of his gun turned out. I have missed a little bit. I've got to paint the bolts on the end there. But just put on his base, I put a bit of Agrellan earth. Let that dry, the crack all come into it. Then I painted that with what's it called, Wraithbone. Put a wash over that of Norn oil. Leaves this like iced out kind of look, dried out, and then put some Valhalla Blizzard on it. So, and then obviously I've painted the rim base black. So yep, that's how he's turned out. I do like this model, and he will fit lovely into my army, ready for battle. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if there's anything you think I could have done differently. Any comments are more than welcome. Just drop them down and then I'll see what you say. Thank you for watching this video, guys, and I'll I'll catch you again next time.